Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaserking coming to you with the Super Bowl. Um, just another New England play. We got the line, what, 4.5, 5, 47.5, 48. There's all these prop bets, which I kind of stay away from because it's not really... Gambling to me is not luck, it's more skill, it's more... You're looking for the proper things to make a play. I'm betting a 90% trend. Who's going to score the first touchdown, or who's going to, how long will the national anthem goes. It's all ridiculous. So I stay away from that. Maybe I'll do the squares, for $10 you get, New England 6 and Philly 5 or something like that. But that's just, that's fun, but not gambling. Anyway, Teaserking, let's look at the game. Let's go inside the numbers, what I like to do. So when I look at 2017, these are through the playoffs, and now they're through 19 or 18 games. Just let the stats speak for themselves. Philadelphia in a teaser in 2017, 17-1. Their only loss was as a road favorite at Seattle. And this is why I stress the road favorites are extremely hard, especially against a good team at home. 17-1, 94%. 4-0 is a road dog, and that's what Philadelphia is here. They're 8-10 going against them, so you don't want to go against Philly. New England as a road favorite, 7-1. Overall, they're only 14-4 because they had such a bad beginning. But in the last, after 4 games, they were 1-3. So if we pass that, if we go the last 14 games, they're 13-1. So they're very respectable once they got the defense back. Against 11-7. So let's go back to 16. You like to be consistent. Philadelphia, the last 2 years, 9-1 is a road dog, 30-4, 88% in a teaser. Since they've had Wentz, and since they went to the Baylor offense. I don't understand these announcers that are so stupid. This Chris Collinsworth and whoever else calls these games are so clueless what the Baylor offense is. It's an option play against the safety. If he bites, you throw. If he stays back, you run. That's Baylor's. It's not Chip Kelly's. It's not Oregon's. Chip Kelly ran a jet sweep offense, and he did a run option. He never did a pass option. This is the Baylor offense. That's why anybody could quarterback it and look good. Wentz on another offense would not nearly be as good. But because they run this option attack and it's the safety run pass, it's the Baylor offense, then they're good. So here they are, 30-4 running the Baylor offense the last 2 years. It's about the same stats that Baylor had when they ran it. When they had a real team, not this joke they have now. I mean, what a miserable joke it is last year. And it's funny, all the other teams running the Baylor offense are winning, but Baylor, which is not running the Baylor offense for some reason. Just because the coach, has a problem, you don't get away from the offense that's so successful. New England, 15-1 is a road favorite, 31-6 overall, and most of that damage is done at home. 14-5 is a home favorite. Because they lost those 3 games as a home favorite this year, early in the year. But they're 15-1 on the road as a road favorite, and 1-0 as a road dog. Again, 16-1 on the road, 31-6 overall. Philly's 30-4. But against New England, 8-8, 21-16. Neither of these teams are really you want to bet against. Let's go one more year, 2015. Philly, 12-3 as a road dog, 39-11 overall. New England 20-4 is a road favorite, 83%. 45-10, 82% overall. So you can see where I get my theories on how to bet and how to pick games. Here's the best team, New England. They're 45-10, 82% in the teaser, and you wonder why I take them 9 times out of 10. I'm playing them because Tom Brady's Joe Montana. He's a winner. He's going to win. That's what he does. And so you can see where's the hardest place as a road favorite. It's the hardest thing to do is win as a road favorite. Now, I'm not saying they're 20-4 straight up. I'm saying 24 in a teaser. So more than likely 20-4 straight up, because you're laying 5, 6, 7 points. You're cutting it to 1 and you're getting the money. So again, it just shows you it's all Tom Brady. I really get tired of this Belichick Brady crap. Without Brady, Belichick wouldn't even make the playoffs. The years they did decent, they didn't have a defense. Basically, Brady's won all these games coming from behind. There's no way Belichick, what is he doing? I don't even get the argument. I mean, okay, Lombardi, it was Lombardi. Chuck Noll was Chuck Noll. Bill Walsh was mostly Joe Montana. And, even Joe Montana doesn't get credit. Well, he had great players. No, he didn't have Jerry Rice for the first 2 Super Bowls. And they won them pretty easily. He's winning with Bill Ring and Dwight Clark. I mean, come on, how good was Joe Montana? He went to Kansas City and won. I mean, come on. So I don't, Brady, yes, Brady's a great quarterback. So is Joe Montana. And in the days, and Brady hasn't had to go up against the Lawrence Taylor and the 85 Bears when they were the 86 Bears or the 84 Bears. Let's not forget that. So far easier defenses that New England plays against, far easier teams. There's really nobody in the AFC anymore. I mean, now that Denver's gone, it used to be Indy with Manning. But outside of that, Pittsburgh, I mean, they should be better, but their defense is terrible. Jacksonville, that's how bad it is. Jacksonville comes up with really a minor league quarterback and a good defense. And again, I preface that by when they played good teams, they gave up a lot of points. Against the weak teams with no quarterbacks, they didn't, they shut down the teams. But when they played good teams at Frisco, San Diego, the Rams, Pittsburgh, they're giving up high 20s to 40s. So again, it's not a very competitive. That's like when Miami won the Super Bowl. I was watching all the Super Bowl highlights they had on, like each Super Bowl. And I was studying it and trying to get bearings on how do you pick them? What do you look for? Who won the game and why? And like Miami, when they went perfect, it was a joke. The teams they played had a 300 winning percentage. So they played nobody, and then they got lucky against the Steelers, who it was right after the Immaculate Reception game. So there you go. And they just got lucky that the way they beat Pittsburgh on a fake punt. Otherwise, they're not anything. Give them credit for beating Pittsburgh. It was their first year, but it was right after the Immaculate Reception. And it's like you could see it with Minnesota last week. When you win on a miracle, you're flat the next week. That's just the way it goes. And then you looked at, like, Craig Morton could never win because he sucked. And you had Earl Morrall, who really got lucky in the one win over Dallas, but Dallas had Craig Morton. So it was like the Idiot Bowl, 2 weak quarterbacks playing against each other, and the defenses were very strong. But you can see why Miami won. Paul Warfield, Jim Mandich, and Zonka. So they had balance, and they had a good defense. Same thing with the Raiders. They could run the ball with power and good quarterbacking, good wide receivers. Same thing with Pittsburgh. All the good teams had the balance. They had good running, good passing. And then they had great defenses. I mean, that's You could just watch them all. John Riggins, you watch the Giants, you watch Pitt, Frisco, Dallas, all had balance. They all had strong defenses. Really, I just, if Carson Wentz was playing, I'd say Philadelphia would win easily because they have the strong defense and the balance. They can run and throw. With Foyles, here's the problem with Foyles. He won as a home dog, and I warn everybody, always beware of home dogs, right? So here you got the bookies in Vegas missing the line by at least 7 points. First of all, Philadelphia should have been 3 to 4 point favorites in both games. Okay, Atlanta should not be, your 6th seed is not, it's not a 3-4 point favorite over the 1 seed in the 1 seed. Okay, Philly should have been a 3 or 4 point favorite there. And then the next one is the same thing. They should have been 3 or 4 over Minnesota. And I would have bet the farm on Atlanta in 9, and I would have bet the farm on Minnie in 9, and Minnie in 9 would have won because the underdog was going to win that game. To make them a home dog is how bad Vegas, and then Vegas has the gall of saying they won. Okay, how did they win when Jacksonville was 9-point dogs, went down to 7 against New England? Okay, how did they win? It dropped 2.5 points. That means all the Jacksonville money won. It didn't go back up to 9. Therefore, nobody bet Pittsburgh there. A lot of people bet, or New England. A lot of people bet New England on the money line. So explain to me how they won, because I don't have a clue how Vegas can possibly say they won unless they're so screwed up changing their lines that they have no idea what they're doing. Same thing in Philly, Minnesota. That line never moved. There's no way they won on that. First of all, Philly should have been favored, and you would have had proper money bet. Secondly, if all this money supposedly was bet on Minnesota, why didn't the line go up to 5 or 6 as it should have? That's what you do. You don't keep the line at 3 and make these money things. That's bullshit. The teasers won. Philly in 9 won. The under was a push, but that's a winner in a teaser. It's a push. It's not a loss, and it's like you get your money back. New England was -1. That one easy in the teaser. You had to work for it, but you knew Brady was going to win the game. At home, they're not losing. So that was really easy. So now you get down to two teams that are in teasers, 30-4 against 31-6, 84% against 88%. So my first thought is I got to take the dog in this game. You got Philly, you got New England, dead even. Now the problem is you got Nick Foles on the road. So now he's going to Minnesota. The only saving grace is it's indoors, which will help with the climate. New England has never won a Super Bowl by more than 3, except for last year it went to overtime and they scored a touchdown. But to me, that's still a 3-point win because they didn't win in regulation. So the other Super Bowls they played in, all of them have been within 2 or 3 points. So they don't blow anybody out in the Super Bowl. Brady has to come on from behind in the 4th quarter. Philadelphia has much the better defense in this game. Nick Foles will be running the Baylor attack, which should work against New England's. Put it this way, if New England gives up 20 points to Jacksonville, the Bart Bortles, you've got to be kidding. I look at this game being like the minimum 28-24, but I think 31-27, 28, somewhere in that neighborhood. Sounds like the score. New England will get there 30. Philly will get there 25-30. I think New England wins slightly and late. Philly, I think, will jump out. Blunt, I mean, he'll have a big day. If anybody, they will. You can't really get on Brady because he throws these short little passes. But I think Philly secondary will definitely be able to cover that. Gronk will definitely play. This bullshit with the concussion, give me a break. It's so stupid. I mean, you know, they have him shooting up on hard drugs to get out from the locker room in and worried about a concussion. There's no way anybody has a concussion for the Super Bowl. Okay, that's not happening. Gronk's practicing. I don't know. This protocol is so stupid. Look, you know what you get when you sign up. If you're a race car driver, you know you're going to get in accidents. You know you're going to drive 200 miles an hour. You can't make it safe because that's what you've chosen. Don't do it then. You're playing football. It's physical. You're going to get hurt. That's just all it is. So, you know, to try to protect them, you know, you want to protect them, don't play these stupid Thursday night games. You know, have everything on Sunday, and you can have the Monday night game. But these Thursday night games, if you really want to protect the players, you wouldn't have them. So let's get into the points, my favorite. So again, my new method works to a perfection. Who's the top two teams? Philadelphia. They scored 28 and give up 17. They're a plus 11. New England scores 28, give up 18. They're a plus 10.7. They're dead even. Quarter of a point. Philadelphia is better. Looking at this, I get 5 and Philly, and I can tease it up to 11. I got Philly and 11, and Philly's a half point better. They got a better defense at 17 to 18. And you got to understand New England, who do they play? The Jets have no quarterback. Buffalo has Tyrod Taylor, who sucked at Virginia Tech. And Miami, who has no quarterback and no offense. So 6 of their wins, they're not going to give up a lot of points anyway. And then the other teams they play, you know, aren't very good, except for Pitt scored. You know, let's look at the Pitt game. I think it was 27-24. And Pitt scored at the end, we all know. So it's not like they stopped Pitt from the mid-20s. So in this game, Nick Foles has more confidence. They know what to do with him. But again, remember, he's not a home dog this week. It is so important to understand the role of the team. You don't think Philadelphia knew they were a home dog? They're all wearing dog masks. Are you kidding? And they got the crowd behind them, and they're insulted. We're the dogs. And they never should have been the dogs. Again, Vegas screws up the line. The line, again, should have been Philly -3 in both those games. Especially after New Orleans carved up Minnesota and should have won that game. How do you make them a road favorite in Philly? I mean, I told you, listen to my video last week, I told you cannot play Minnesota. You either play Philly as the dog or you play the under. I took the under because of Minnie's defense and Philly's defense. So here, New England's not a great defensive team. They're going to, Jacksonville scored 20 on them. Pitt scored in the should have got 30, but in the mid-20s. Philly will go into the 20s. New England scores 20 on anybody. So you're looking at a game probably in the low 50s, 28-24, 31-27. Should be a decent amount of scoring in the game. You're going to get your turnovers. So that's what I see that. But it's beautiful how here's how this worked. When I look at the variance between offense and defense for the whole year, Philly's number 1, New England's number 2, Jacksonville's number 3, the Rams are 4, New Orleans is 5. The only team that did not make the playoffs was Baltimore, who was 6. Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and then the Chargers didn't make it, who had a great defense this year, giving up 17. And then it was Kansas City and Atlanta. And then Buffalo was a -3, so that's, you can see they went out early. And Tennessee was a -3. Should never have beat Kansas City, but Andy Reid, the worst playoff coach in the history of life. What a loser Andy Reid is. I mean, you're good enough to win the 9-10 games. You get into the playoffs. You never show up. You showed up one time with Philadelphia. That's just embarrassing. What an idiot that guy is. He's not a good coach. And then speaking of coaches here real quick. Well, wait, let me talk about the defense. Here's your top 10 defenses. The Chargers, number 1. Philly, Minnesota, Jacksonville, New England, Baltimore, Atlanta, the Bears, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Dallas, and the Rams. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, I gave you the top 12. Those were the top defenses. Now, so you can see most of them are in the playoffs. Let's look at the worst 10. Cleveland, Indy, Miami, the Giants, Washington, Green Bay, Denver, the Jets, San Francisco, and Tampa. Why do I point that out? Well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for strength against weakness. Strength is strong defense. Weakness is weak defense. The teams I mentioned, who is the worst team in the league? Cleveland, Indy, Miami, the Giants, Washington, Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is a little bit because of Aaron Rodgers, but still. And then the Jets and Denver. So Denver went from this top defensive unit down -23. So if you're looking to bet, the idiots in Vegas who have no idea how to make a line anymore are still laying Denver -3 or +2 when it should be, they should be the home dog, or they should be getting 7, but they're getting 2 because they're Denver. But if you look at their points, they're giving up 23.5, and they only score 18. Who the hell are they going to beat? So they have no quarterback, although they have Paxton Lynch, and they have Chad Kelly. He's the superstar, the guy from Ole Miss who beat Alabama twice and had him 3 times. So you just look at the bad defense there, and Houston's down there at 27. So it shows you, and those are the teams you bet against. So here it finds it for you, right? So I'm looking at the teaser stats, right? Philly 17-1 in a teaser. Cleveland is 18-0 against in a teaser. But then you look at Cleveland's defense laying 25 points a game, and you look at Philadelphia laying, and they give up 17 a game. So you can see that the stats just tell you where to go. All you got to do is read them and you go, oh yeah, I'll take the Chargers, Philly, all these teams, and who am I going to bet against? Houston, Cleveland, Indy, Miami, right down the chute. And when I look at the offenses, the top offenses are the Rams, New England and Philly, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Detroit, Baltimore. So it's doesn't give you the same warm and fuzzy, although the Rams, New England, Philly, and New Orleans are in it. Teams like Detroit and Baltimore, who are just dreadful, should not, show you that it's not about the offense. It's very clear it's about the defense and the variance. So taking a look at that again, Philly gives up 17 a game. New England gives up 18. They both score in the 28s. Philly's a +11. New England's a +10.7. So this game's dead even. In a dead even spot, in a neutral site, you got to take the dog. Everything points to the dog and the over in this game. So that's what Teaserking's doing. He's going to take the dog and the over. I love Philly in 11. Even if they get down, they're going to score. Unless Nick Foles just falls apart, which he could easily do. He's not that good of a quarterback. Listening to a radio host, well, he's got a QB rating at 140 in these 2 games. Yeah, they're in Philly as a home dog, so of course he's got it. Now they're playing at Minnesota in the Super Bowl against New England. Now, the one reason I like the over is because Philly did score a bunch on Minnesota. And when you watch the game, Minnesota moved the ball all day on Philadelphia. They just kept turning it over when they got down there. And that's because the quarterback, and the name slips me, isn't a winner. I mean, he doesn't know how to win the game. He doesn't know how to finish it. How often do you see Brady get down there and not get him a touchdown? Very rarely does Brady march the team down, get to the 10-yard line, and not score a touchdown. That's Brady. That's the difference in Brady and Rodgers from the rest of these bums. And Drew Brees, I'll put those two. That's the difference. So that's why I'm saying it's not Belichick, it's Brady, because the play calls that Belichick could make, you couldn't get the touchdowns if you didn't have Brady. So Brady scores all the hard points. That's why you can't say Belichick's such a great coach. The difference is Lombardi and Noel, they'd pound it. It was the theme. We're going to play great defense. We're going to pound the ball down your throat, and we'll throw it occasionally when we need to, and good luck stopping our sweeps and all that mess, because you can't do it. We're just going to beat on you because we got this great defense. New England can't win with their defense. They never have been able to. They've always won with Tom Brady. Since Tom Brady's been there. Before Tom Brady had Drew Bledsoe, how many Super Bowls did they win? None. He wasn't a winner. When I say winner, it's they know how to win the games. Jared Goff is not a winner. He plays in the big games. He chokes. He throws interceptions. Look at him in this playoff against Atlanta. He was terrible. You look at him in college, and I point to this Cal-Utah game all the time. He throws 5 interceptions in a game Cal could have won their conference. So Jared Goff is not a winner. Never bet him in a big game like this. Right? If he was in the Super Bowl, he's not going to win it. The reason I like New England to win, because Tom Brady's a winner. Tom Brady will win this game. You could tease it +1, but I think that +11 is so much better because Philly's defense and Philly can run blunt, and they run the Baylor offense, and they got a Jai. They got too much for New England. New England gives up 20 to Jacksonville. Oh my God. So I mean, if they're giving up 20 to Jacksonville, Philly's getting probably 30. But Brady will keep them there. Brady will win the game. So you're looking in, you're looking upper 20s to low 30s. I don't know. These other things with these coaches are ridiculous. Name one New England coach that's done anything outside of New England. None of them have. Charlie Weiss, coach, couldn't win at Kansas. Freaking Kansas, he couldn't win it. Couldn't win at Notre Dame. You got this Bill guy at Houston. They're terrible. This McDaniels went to Denver, and he was terrible. And he comes back to New England. Again, it's all Brady. And then he's going to get another head because he's going to go coach somewhere else, Indianapolis. What do you think they're going to do there? They'll be lucky to win 5 games with this guy. And that's even with Andrew Luck. He's not a good coach. And this other Patricia guy who goes to the Lions, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? They're not going to have a good defense. They don't have any players. He doesn't know how to coach offense. He's got Stafford, not Brady. It's all Brady. I could be the offensive coordinator for New England, and I'd go like this. I'd go, okay, Brady, call your own plays. Wake me up when we've won the game. Because he should be the offensive coordinator, he being Tom Brady. He knows what to call. He knows when he's looking over the line, there's my bitch. I'm throwing that 5-yard slant to Edelman. Oh, Gronk's got one-on-one coverage. I'm throwing to Gronk. You don't need an offensive coordinator to call passing plays or occasional run plays. Give me a break. And if you're stupid enough to think these coordinators are any good, you're crazy. And it's so stupid, these coordinators, they keep hiring this offensive coordinator who have no experience. Patricia has never been a head coach. You're going to make him a head coach because he's at New England? Oh my God, how stupid. Pat Shurmur at the Giants? Oh my God. What has he done? I mean, you're hiring these guys. They haven't done anything. John Gruden, 10 years at Oakland. I'll bet anybody now Oakland doesn't win a playoff game with Gruden. Okay, and they have Derek Carr, and that's the only reason he went there. They have no defense, and I don't know why. Cooper, the whole team quit because of the national anthem last year. Good luck with that one, Gruden. They won't win. Let's say they won't win a conference championship game. So they might win one round in the playoffs. They'll never have home field advantage. And I don't see them in 10 years that the guy even has a winning record. I don't get Gruden. Who is he? What did he do? He beat Tampa. He won with Tampa against Oakland because he knew all the plays in the Super Bowl. That's all he did. I mean, give me a break. The guy's not a good coach. When I hear him talk, it just solidifies he's a bad coach. My opinion. So there's really not a lot of good coaches out there. And I thought the one hire that should have been made should have been Jim Harbaugh. I don't care if he's at Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, USC. I don't care where he's at now. I would have offered him 10% ownership of the team and name your salary, and here you go. He is the best pro coach out there, and he's doing nothing at Michigan because, again, he can't get a quarterback because he still wants to run the Michigan way in the 80s when he was there. We're going to have 2 tight ends. We're going to have a fullback. And my quarterback's not going to be a running quarterback. He's going to drop back. I don't want 4 wide receivers or 5 wide receivers. I want the fullback and the tight end. Well, the problem is in high school, who has that? The high schools are too stupid. So they either have the fast kid, so he run passes, which is terrible for a quarterback, or they have the kid who is in a shotgun with 4 wide receivers throwing it all over, but he can't read a defense. So this is the problem. So Harbaugh is just spinning his wheels. You know, his wheels are in mud at Michigan. He's not going to win. Urban Meyer gets it. See, Urban Meyer runs the spread offense, so he gets the spread quarterback very easily. His aren't very good. J.T. Barrett stinks. The kid before him was Braxton Miller, not a good quarterback. The one kid who came in and played the 3 games and won the title, I can't think of his name. He's not good at all in the pros. So he wins with these fast quarterbacks, these option quarterbacks. Otherwise, if you ever notice, he's never going to be a pro coach because he doesn't know how to coach the pros. He can only coach these running quarterbacks because he tries to take advantage of the 10th blocker in the quarterback running. Well, you can't do that in the pros. As you can see, the quarterbacks won't last, so he can never be a pro coach. He's not smart enough to come up with a better offense. And you got Nick Saban, who just basically pays a lot for the players and plays a very good defense, not much of an offense. They should never have been in the playoff. That was a joke. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, Penn State belonged there far ahead of Alabama. So did Ohio State. You know, you've got to make it a playoff. You got to put in 16 teams. You can't have a 4-team playoff. You got 5 power conference. You have 6 strong conferences because I'm counting UCF also, and the Boise Conference. So you have 7 strong conferences, and then you're going to have teams like Penn State who lost to Ohio State in the last second. At Ohio State doesn't mean they're not a good team. Where was, then USC, where were they? And then other, TCU, should have been there. Wisconsin should have been there. The fact that the Big Ten had 3 good teams doesn't mean they shouldn't have been. Where was Auburn? They beat Alabama and Georgia, but because they play them in this conference championship game and lose, they get out. I mean, it's insane. The whole thing's a joke. The whole thing's ridiculous. I saw odds on Alabama getting into the playoff at 6-2 or 5-2 or something like that. I'd bet a fortune on that because it's fixed. Alabama will always get into the playoffs because for whatever reason, first of all, they don't schedule anybody. If you notice, they never play Florida. They never play Georgia. It's just Tennessee, and then, LSU's been bad. Old Mississippi State. A&M sucks. Missouri sucks. I mean, there's nobody there. And then the teams they play, they never play Georgia or Florida. So they have a very weak schedule every year. So So maybe they'll lose the one game to Ole Miss or to Johnny Manziel, or in this case to Auburn, and then they'll make the playoffs because they stay out of the conference championship game. Let them lose, and then they're in with one loss. They'll never have two losses because their scheme of the 72 Steelers defense obviously works. It's not hard to get good defensive players. So once you have the scheme down, I mean, their quarterbacks are average. Their running backs are terrible this year. This is their worst running backs they've had. And now that Cooper is off the steroids, he can barely play in the pros. So again, they get the best players. They pay for them, obviously. And that's fine. You know, everybody wants to go and get the ring. But, of course, they'll make the playoff, especially at 4 teams, because it's not really a playoff. It's Alabama and Clemson and Washington, you had your turn. You didn't do well. We'll put Oklahoma in. Oklahoma, you didn't do well. We'll put Clemson in. Whoever wins the ACC, like, that's a good conference. And, you know, that's the way it is. So the Big Ten got totally screwed. They had 3 teams, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Penn State, that should have been in the normal 16-team playoffs, all got screwed. So I'd like to see Alabama beat Wisconsin. I'd like to see them beat Penn State because they couldn't do it. Absolutely not. No chance. But we'll never see it because they didn't want it. They wanted them to play Georgia, who had them, and Georgia played not to lose. I mean, look how Georgia was an average team. They weren't a great team last year. They beat Notre Dame by a point. Woo. You know, Clemson sucked. Oklahoma had Georgia. I mean, where's Georgia? They gave up 50 points to Oklahoma. They're just lucky Oklahoma doesn't have a defense. So, yeah, Alabama could not have handled Oklahoma. Oklahoma would have beat Alabama last year. Bob Choke left finally, so they got a good coach. But anyway, so that's all my various talks. I had a good year. I didn't have my great year. Normally I make 25 to 50,000. I've had years where I've made 60, 70,000. This was a much more difficult year, but as you can see, as I pointed out, in 2016, here's your playoff teams. You know, Detroit, Green Bay, Atlanta, the Giants. Just a second. I think Carolina, Dallas, you know, Pitt, Miami, okay, New England, Houston, Oakland, Seattle, KC, you know, and the way I look at it is I'm looking at trend analysis, so history will repeat. That's very clear. But this year, you have Minnesota, a new team. You got the Rams out of nowhere. New Orleans, I kind of picked up on them, but even there in the beginning, they looked terrible. Atlanta was back. Carolina, who knows? They played better. Philadelphia, you could see coming. Tennessee, they always suck. Jacksonville, where did they come from? Buffalo, they suck. Again, New England and Kansas City and Pittsburgh. So basically when you're betting, it was, let's bet against Cleveland. I mean, here's your bet against. The Giants 13-3, Tennessee 15-3, Cleveland 16-0, Miami 12-3, Oakland 14-2, and Denver 13-3. And normally you have Jacksonville on that list. You have Miami. Well, Miami was there. Buffalo. Maybe the Jets are usually terrible. And now you had San Diego 14-2. The Jets out of nowhere 14-2. Philly 17-1. You had New Orleans 15-3, and they were 15-1 since the first 2 weeks they got blown out, right? So they lose to Minnesota, New England. That's 2 losses, so they end up going 15-1 the rest of the year. You got Detroit, who the hell knows who they are, 13-3, and Minnie goes 14-4. So that's what makes it difficult. You're trying to understand the teams, and so you you like now. Okay, here's a perfect example. San Francisco's got Garoppolo. Who the hell knows if he's any good or not? He really didn't play. He played the one game against Jacksonville. I didn't see it. I was out of town, so I don't know if they gave him a bunch of turnovers because Bortles, I think, had 3 interceptions in the game. So was it Garoppolo or was it Bortles playing like a pig? And they beat Houston, who sucks. They beat somebody else who sucks, and then the Rams the last game, who didn't even try. So I'm not sold on Garoppolo, but you've got to pay attention. Frisco's ended up 12-4 this year, 10-6 against. They're 6-1 as a road dog. That's all you have to go by is they're 6-1 as a road dog. They're 4-3 as a home dog, 5-2 against, and then 1-0 as a home favorite and a road favorite. So you have no trend on Frisco. This is going to take you 6 or 7 games to see Garoppolo. He's got to play some good teams, the Rams and Seattle. Then we can say, okay, now I'm going to bet on Frisco. It took Joe Montana a year. His first year they were terrible. But he was good in college, and you knew that coming in. He beat Houston in a Cotton Bowl game. He beat USC where they come from behind. So you knew Joe Montana was going to be a great quarterback watching him at Notre Dame. I never saw Garoppolo play. I don't even know what college he went to. I think it was a small college, so I can't say anything about him. And Baker Mayfield will be a very good quarterback because he's a winner. I'm trying to think who else. I think I think Josh Rosen's a winner. I don't think Sam Darnold's a winner. I think that's a mistake to draft him high. I don't know where they're thinking he's any good. Threw a lot of interceptions this year. I don't think he's a winner. He played against Ohio State and they killed him. Joe Montana would have won that game against Ohio State. See, that's the difference. You want the kid that wins. You don't say, well, he's got a good arm and he looks good in the training camp and maybe he'll win and maybe he'll be good. No. You got to see it on the field that the guy is a winner. That's why I bitch about Jared Goff. He goes to Utah and he throws 5 picks and they lose by 30. Not a winner. Joe Montana would not have done that. That's why I was all over Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is a winner. He backs up on Dallas now. He should have been he broke his ankle. It would have been him, not Prescott, because he's better than Prescott. But people just aren't giving him a chance. He played one game for Dallas, threw for 400 yards. He's a winner. But for some reason they don't. I don't know if he's too small, but he wasn't too small at Boise. When they beat Georgia and Virginia Tech, he looked the right size then. So you just have to get to the winners based on what their play. They can read a defense. Not these guys because they have a good arm does not make you a good quarterback. Because you're 6'3" does not make you a good quarterback. AKA Drew Brees, AKA Warren Moon. Doug Flutie is a good quarterback. You can't look because he's too small. If he's good enough in college, they're the same height. The lineman in college is there in the pros. So anyway, that's my bitching. I'm finally feeling better, so I can actually talk now. I don't know what else to say. Again, it was a tough year, but I think I did well. I made money. I know that. I think about $5,000, not my normal that, but as I say, you've got to look at my whole piece of work. 2 years ago, I made about $45,000. Last year was about $25,000, and I pick a lot of games right. People ask me, well, what's your stats? Is that straight or teasers? And I try to explain to them, it's always straight. I'm picking the game. I'm picking Philly in 11, and I'm going over. Okay, so I'm making 2 picks. But let's say last week, I could have played a 3-team teaser with Philly, the under in the Philly game in New England. So if I made 3 picks and I play a 3-team teaser, it's 1 teaser, but it's 3 picks. So if all 3 of the picks win, what am I? Am I 1-0 in the teaser, or am I 3-0 in my picks? And then, well, let's say I do what I normally do. I got New England in 2 or 3 teasers. I got Philly as a home dog in a couple of teasers, and I got the under in a couple of teasers. So now all 3 wins, and I win 4 teasers. So did I go 3-0 in my picks? Did I go 4-0 picking 4 teasers? Did I play 3-team teasers? How about when I play the 11-team teaser and I go and I hit it and I have 11 winners? Is that 1? So I was 1-0 in my teaser picking an 11-team teaser? No, you've made 11 picks that won. How you put them in teasers is the key, and the bigger fact is you don't bet the same amount on every teaser. So if I go 5-5 on my teaser picks, on my teaser bets, let's say, but I hit my lock and I have them in 3 teasers. So I win 11 units, 11 units, and 11 units, and then I lose my 5-unit plays. I lose 5 unit, 5 unit, 5 unit, 5 unit. So I could lose 4 5-unit teasers, win 3 11-unit teasers. So I win 33 units and I lose 20 units. I'm up 13 units, but I won 3 and lost 4 because my locks hit, and my games that I liked but I didn't love and I played them lost. Or maybe I won a 5-team teaser getting 6-1 odds. So you can't, it's very hard to look at the teaser because of the way, what if I trap the teaser? What if I go and I hit it and then I hit the trap, which I've done twice this year. I won the teaser and the trap. How do you calculate that out? So all you can really do is look at the money. It was another positive year, not as much as I normally make, but it was a positive year. So really, that's all I can say. Teasers, you got to understand, this is very much art, not as much science. The science is the trend. Philly 17-1. The art is how to bet it, how much to bet it, how many teasers to put in it, how to find 5 teasers to play a 5-team teaser, and how strong do I play the teasers, and make sure I don't play them all the same amount. That's the art of it. So I'm at a very, very high level when I pick teasers. When I do this whole thing as a whole art form, that's I've been doing since 1977. It's all a gut feel. I feel this team. I told you, Minnesota, you cannot play as a road favorite in Philly. I knew Philly was going to cover, getting 9. There was no question. It was just the under was better because of Minnesota's strong defense, which didn't show up because they were flat after winning against the Drew Brees. So it really should have been, now this would have been interesting. It should have been Philly, New Orleans, because New Orleans should have held the lead there. And if it's Philly, New Orleans, you should have had Philly as a 3-point favorite, and I would have locked New Orleans in 9, and New Orleans in 9 would be in the Super Bowl right now. Because they would not be losing, not the way their defense was playing in Drew Brees. They got extremely lucky, Philadelphia, to not face Drew Brees, because he'd have lit him up. After what he did against Minnie, he'd have lit him up. He'd have lit him up, lit him up, lit him up. New Orleans would be playing New England, and that would be a lock over. But anyway, that's where you get your gut. And that's where when I look at these stats for so long, I know exactly, like I'm telling you, here's Philly 17-1, 4-0 as a road dog. I'm not in love with them as a road dog because of Foles winning at home. He did win the Giants game on the road, and he came in and he played decent against the Rams to win that game. So he's okay on the road. So I don't mind Philly, and it's because of their defense and Blunt and Jai is why I like Philly. Not because of Foles, but they'll run the Baylor offense, so I do like that. And I don't love New England's defense. And again, New England's 7-1. So here's my gut. Philly takes the lead. Philly, they score some points. Here comes New England. We beat you last year. And you just hope Philly's got enough so when New England comes back, it's over. And when you look at it, an over-under, it's what, 48 is 42. So let's look at 42. 42 is 24-20 is 44. You're winning. There's no way Brady doesn't get in the 20s. He got in the 20s against Seattle, which leaves Philadelphia to get into the 20s. They don't even have to. If New England gets 28, so Philly gets 20, you got the 11 W there. You got 48. All you need is 42. And there's no way New England's going to hold them under 20 unless Foles just plays like the guy in Minnesota, who I'm can't think right now. But that's what you basically have here. So that's how you play the teaser in this game. This is a dead even game. Brady's much better quarterback. Brady will win the game, but I feel a whole lot better taking Philly in 11 than I do taking New England +1, because he might lose by a field goal at the end. He shouldn't, but he might. But Philly's going to keep in the. You're getting two into the. It's all like return on investment, right? Return on investment says, well, it's all risk and reward. Risk and reward says, how much do I risk to get the reward? The less I have to risk to get the better reward, the more I should play that investment. So if my risk is 20% to win 50, but here I only have to risk 10% to win 60. I only want to risk 10% to win 60. Why would I want to risk 20% to win 50? So what I'm saying is the risk of New England +1 to win 50 versus Philadelphia getting 11 to win 50 is huge. New England should win. They're not dominant. Their defense is average. So for New England to win, let's say it's a 20% risk to win your teaser bet. Philadelphia in 11, let's say, is a 5% risk because they're 17-1, and they've been playing great defense. And they can run the ball, so Foles doesn't play. So you only got a 5% risk for Philly in 11 to win, because you're getting a great number. You're getting over 10. So even if they lose 30-20, it's a W. So that's what you're looking at. The risk of Philly +11 versus New England -1 is so much greater that you'll win with Philly in 11 in this game, based on all the trends, based on the points, based on everything I'm analyzing. Hence, the only negative is Wentz. It's funny, if Wentz is playing, it's the exact same spread. New England's going to be a 3 or 4 point favorite if Wentz is playing, and apparently Foles is only a 1 point different. And keep in mind, the spreads are really bad, and they're based on what happened last week. They don't even look at the whole picture. So I'm looking at the whole picture. Philadelphia 17-1 as a road dog. 17-1 is a teaser. I'm not looking at last week as a home dog to mini. Oh, therefore they're good. I'm looking at the whole picture. 17-1. How's Foles on the road? Okay, how are they against good defenses? How's New England? You know, Philly went to the Rams and beat the Rams with their favorite defensive coordinator, who's the worst head coach but a great defensive coordinator, and Bum Phillips' kid. So when you look at it like that, you gotta love Philadelphia. Getting the 11 points is such a stronger percentage play than New England +1, because Philly could win the game and Brady might not be able to bring him back, although he will bring him back to a point, but he might not be able to bring him back to a win. The odds on New England winning 32-0 are basically zero, because they've never blown out weak Carolina, weak Philadelphia teams in the prior Super Bowls. They're not blowing them out. They didn't blow out Jacksonville. They should have lost to Pittsburgh in the worst call I've ever seen on a catch. Don't get me wrong, I love New England. If they were a dog, I'd bet as much money as I had. I'd sell my house and bet New England as a dog in this game. But they're not. But that would be the best play, would be New England anytime they're a dog. As long as Tom Brady's there, not Belichick. So here you got Philly 17-1. Take the points, take the over. Bet it pretty strong. You can bet it comfortably. As far as these prop bets, just be careful. They're really stupid. Don't bet a lot on them. But anyway, so I will run some draft videos when we get to that point. I'll update my stats. So my stats are all updated. And I had a huge year in college. I was very strong in college. The statistics worked really well there. I knew who the weak teams were. I quickly caught on to South Florida. Well, I knew South Florida. I quickly caught on to UCF this year and the Navy. And look out for Army next year. UCLA lost Rosen, which was disappointing. They were a great over team. So you just, it's the same old. I'll be hunting the senior quarterbacks for next year and who graduated. UCLA is going to suck without Jim Mora. If Arnold goes from SC, Washington's going to be a lot weaker. They lose their quarterback, their running back. So you just go ahead. But college, very, very strong this year. Very high percentage picking wise. And my locks were extremely strong in college. The last one was the Wisconsin and Oklahoma over in the bowls was a very strong lock that won relatively easy. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Good luck. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Again, www.teaserking.com. Obviously, I would sell the game, but I have my people who have bought the playoffs, bought the whole year. So they're all on board, and so people can end with some good money. Been all right in the last year. I ran the table in the playoffs. This year, I lost on the Pittsburgh game, and the Kansas City game hurt me. Kansas City losing to Tennessee was a joke, and Pittsburgh losing to Jacksonville. I didn't know Jacksonville could score like they do, so therefore I would have bet the game over because Pitt's a great over team. They have no defense. But anyway, enough with that. So I look forward to next year being even stronger. Hopefully the trends and my new developed trends and management helps me. I'm always looking for new ways to pick, new trends to pick. Now I got the points for and against. I'm looking for the weak college teams to give up 40 a game, and so I keep evolving and developing, which is really all you can do. Again, watching these old Rose Bowl games, I was watching the Oakland-Pittsburgh playoff games of the 70s. It's great, and it's always, boy, they had great defenses back then. They could all pound the ball, and you didn't have these stupid instant replays. So it was a much better game. The game's getting very bad. Too much bullshit with the commercials, and let's kick off from the 50, and oh my God, it's just getting really hard to watch. They're going to lose a lot of viewers. If they didn't have the gambling aspect, they'd be out of business because it's just very watered down and very hard to watch. The quarterbacks are so bad. The coaches are terrible. I mean, I'm watching Joe Gibbs and the guy on 49ers, I can't forget. God, how can I forget the 49er coach? But I mean, you watch Lombardi, you watch Knoll, you watch Bud Grant, and then you look at these coaches now, and you're like, really? Don Shula? I mean, Don Shula won a Super Bowl with Earl Morrall. What does that tell you? No, he didn't even win it, did he? No, he did. He won the... no, I think Greasy was back for that game. But, yeah, I think he won the... No, McCafferty won with Earl Morrall over Craig Morton in the terrible quarterback Super Bowl. Anyway, everybody, good luck. Enjoy. www.teaserking.com. Send me an email if you want for my opinion on anything that's coming up. All right, everybody. Good luck. Hope you enjoy the game. Philly and the over. Good luck.